Alright, I think I just found one of the easiest profitable trade-ups that you can do in CS2 right now, which abuses the changes in the trade-up system. I did this 6 times in a row and walked away with over $93 of total profit. And the best part, this trade-up isn't even that hard once you understand the new system. But it's also not brain dead. You'll need a little bit of float knowledge, so if you're new, I'll explain everything step by step. And if any of this sounds confusing, I just uploaded a full CS2 trade-up guide that explains everything about float caps, adjusted average floats, and odds. Go check that one out after finishing this one. Now before we start, I'll be giving away a Navaja knife in this video. If you want to enter, just like, comment, and subscribe. I will be rolling it at the end of November. Now let's hear a quick word from the sponsor of this video. The CS2 market's been crazy lately. If you're like me and still hunting for low float skins for trade-ups, Skins Monkey makes it stupid easy. You can instantly swap your old skins for the new ones safely. And if it's your first time trading, use code ELSO for a free $5 bonus. Also, you can deposit via card or crypto and get a 35% bonus on your deposits. Make sure to check them out, link is in the description. Okay, let's start with what this trade-up actually is. It's a mil-spec trade-up, and you'll be using 5 minimal wear skins from the Ascent collection and 5 factory new skins from other cheap collections. Sounds simple, but the reason this trade-up now works is because of the new changes in the trade-up system. Even though the Ascent collection only has 2 purples, while the cheap factory new skins that you will be using has 5 purples, you will still get a 50% chance to get an Ascent collection when before you only had a 30% chance. If you're confused, make sure to check out my previous video. But anyway, your goal is to make sure that your adjusted average float, not the raw float, is below 0.0933. That number is important because it decides if your outputs like the AK or the USP will come out in factory new condition instead of minimal wear. So this is where all the profit comes from. So first, let's talk about the minimal wear inputs. These are your Ascent skins. You're going to use 5 of these skins: the MP9 Cobalt Paisley, the Desert Eagle Mint Fan, the P2000 Royal Baroque, and the P90 Reef Grief. Now, this is where it gets tricky. Each of these skins has its own float caps, which basically means how clean or dirty it possibly can be. Now, as a TLDR of the new trade-up system, if the float range of your float cap is higher, it will be a better trade-up input. More info will be in my previous video, but anyway, the MP9 has the best float cap here, with a float cap going from 0 to 0.67, while the other 3 only go from 0 to 0.60. That's why the MP9 is a little bit more expensive than the others since it's more forgiving. So when you're buying these, make sure your MP9s have a float less than 0.095 and your Deagle, P2000, and P90 have floats less than 0.09. This will make sure that your adjusted average float stays low enough. So the best way to get these skins is either by sniping listings in the Steam market or by placing buy orders with your max price. It's honestly super easy right now. As you can see, I was able to grab a lot of these within just a few minutes. Now, next up, for the 5 factory new filler skins, this is the fun part because this is where you can get creative. Your goal is to use cheap factory new skins that help pull your overall float down. Now, here's the rule. Your factory new skins should have an adjusted float less than 0.038. Basically, if you keep them under that number, the final average will stay below our target, which is 0.0933. The easiest way to do that is to pick skins that have a float cap of 0 to 1.0 because those are the super flexible and the best inputs that you can use. So some of my go-to cheap factory new fillers are the Mag 10 Monkey Fludge, the Mag 7 Insomnia, the Negev Drop Me, the MP5 Desert Strike, and the Bison Runic. These are all skins from cheaper cases with full float ranges, so you can find them with clean floats easily and for under $1. Now, if you're wondering what adjusted float means, don't worry. It just means the normalized float of the skin based on its float caps, and it uses this formula that I'm showing in here. It is a bit too complicated, so I won't get right into it, but just check my other video if you want more details. Now, you can use skins with float caps that are not 0 to 1.0. I will show an example later. But anyway, once you've got your 5 minimal wear Ascent and 5 factory new fillers, open up Trade-up Spy, load up your inventory, and start mixing them together until your adjusted average float goes below 0.0933. If your adjusted average float is higher than this, just remove one high minimal wear skin and replace it with a lower minimal wear skin, or remove a high factory new float skin with a lower float factory new skin. Now, the beauty of this trade-up is in the numbers. You've got a 25% chance to hit the AK mid laminate for a $39 profit, then another 25% chance to hit the USP Royal Guard, which is a $7 profit, and a 50% chance to hit one of the cheaper outcomes, which will lose you about $15 each. When you add that all up, it comes out to 117% profitability, which means that if you did this trade up 100 times, you'd make $3.15 on average per attempt. That's actually really good for a mid-tier trade-up, especially one this consistent. Now, a few notes before you start doing this yourself. First, yes, you can mix different Factory New fillers from different collections. As you can see here, I used 5 Factory New skins from different collections, and we still have a 50% chance to get the Ascent collection. Next up, you can use Factory New skins with float caps less than 0 to 1.0, but you will need to check their adjusted floats carefully. For example, the UMP Motorized has a float cap of 0 to 0.8, so you can use one with a float of 0.025 since the adjusted average float will come out to 0.03125. But only do this if you know what you're doing. Now, I did this trade up 6 times in total and my results were insane. So I hit the AK twice in a row right at the start, then I got 2 bad rolls with a P90 and the M249, then I hit another AK and finished with a USP. In total, that's a $93 profit, and it only takes a few minutes to set up each trade. The key is taking your time to find those clean floats. And there you go, one of the most consistent profitable trade-ups you can do right now under the new CS2 system. If you want to learn the basics of trade-ups and even finding your own profitable trade-ups, make sure to check out this video. Otherwise, peace out, boys.